Live.
Hello and welcome to another CommonSenSEO Show. Thank you very much. This is episode number 2, and today we will be going on moving forward in our look into tools that we use in our, I'm going to rewind on that. We're going to be looking into keywords there. Let's keep it simple. First of all, I just want to say thank you very much for last week. It was really, I'm just really stunned actually, because we've had, between Facebook and YouTube, we've had 100 views, which, okay, I know I went into one of the groups and says, hey, go and like this video. But you know, even so, 100 views is pretty impressive. So I'm really pleased with that. Thank you very much. Now, before I waffle on too much, let me just hand you over to Henrik for him to say hello. He's in charge of the controls, and yep, over to you, Henrik.
Hi guys, and a little bit of housekeeping first. We just want to check whether you can hear us. So please write in the chat if you can hear us. And I will try to see what I can gather all the information at the same time. So hopefully you're able to listen to us. Nobody is complaining, so maybe we should just hit it, Tony.
Okay, let's go for it then. We're going to keep to 30 minutes today because both Henrik and I have to be out of our respective doors at 4 o'clock for other things. So we're not going to keep you too long. We'll keep it tight. And here we go. Now, after last week's show, I got asked a couple of questions by Julie, about keywords and how to rank for certain terms when it's highly competitive, and that sort of dovetails nicely into this week's show because that's exactly what we're going to be looking at. And while Henrik is there, he's lined up with all the sort of the tools that are used and some sort of pretty good insights into that. What I want to do is give my perspective first and just get people thinking along maybe a different path, because one of the first, I mean, I hate keyword research. I'm sorry, but I do. I hate it. I don't know. I'd sooner go and have injections or something at the doctor's. I don't know. I just hate it. And yet I love Excel, but for some unknown reason, it just numbs my mind looking at all these numbers. But nonetheless, we have to do it. We have to understand what keywords we're going after. We have to understand how to maximize our traffic sources, etc., etc. So it really is a very key part at the start of any project. Okay, now one of the first things that I would do before even doing keyword research is, and it ties in again to what Julie was asking the other day, is to ascertain whether the target, the market that you're going after is actually viable. You know, I mean, what's the competition out there? I mean, if I may sort of borrow her example, I mean, it's there on the public post anyway, so it's not as if it's private. She sort of said, what happens if you go and searching for fresh fruit deliveries in London, and the top 10 results all come back and saying fresh fruit delivered to your door, whatever, etc. So, okay, that's a perfect example. First of all, what I would always suggest you do, so if fresh fruit delivery to your door is your search term, then type it into Google, go and have a look. Look down the top 10 results. First off, you want to see how much of that landscape, that the search engine landscape is covered up. Real estate, I should say, sorry, is covered by citation sites, directory listings, and things like that. If you've got lots of Yale and Yellow Pages, those sorts of listings, Checkertrade, Angie's List, Craigslist, any of those sorts of listings, if you're seeing lots of them all over the page, you're sort of almost thinking, well, hey, that's not a good keyword, because with the best SEO in the world, you're going to struggle to compete with some of those directory sites. Now, obviously, there's ways you can in time, but you're not going to compete with them out the gate. They've got serious amount of backlinks, outbound links, all sorts of metrics going on, all sorts of authority. Just it's not worth going there. If, however, you see maybe 5 of those directory listings and 5 local businesses that may or may not be your competitors, then okay, it could be open warfare. You know, it could be worth it, because so let's say that the third result in the listings. The first two are, you know, Craigslist, whatever. And then the third is, you know, Joe's Fruit Shop down the road. Then that's your target. You've got to be sort of thinking along the lines of not getting to the top of Google, not in organics at least, but taking that top slot of your competitors. And that will bring calls to you, because I mean, I don't know about you, but when I look down a Google search page, I'll go straight past Checkatrade and all those people, and I'll look for the real person. I'll look for the real businesses direct. And a lot of people do. I'm sure a lot of people do that. So it's not a bad thing to be in position 3 on page 1 if you are the first real business. So you got to look at that. See if you can actually get there. Then look at their metrics. See what Google are telling you. I mean, I have the free Moz bar installed on my Google Chrome. There's other tools out there like SERPworks and various different tools where you can get metrics coming up in the search results. So with the Moz bar, you link it up to a free API account on Moz, and yeah, under every search it tells you how many backlinks they've got, what the PA page authority is, what the domain authority is. So you just look at that and say, okay, Joe's Fruit Shop down the road. Hang on a minute, it's got a page authority of 29 and a domain authority of 20, and it's got 300 backlinks. Well, okay, so at least you know now what you've got to be targeting against. Now that's searching for that first keyword, whatever it was, fresh fruit delivered to my door. Well, okay, so if you think that you're not going to be able to actually rank that highly on page 1 because of the competition, then this is where the keyword research comes in, because of course you can start looking around and start looking for other variations on those keywords. And don't take it to when people say around the world, to say Google know the difference between singular and plural. Well, yeah, yes, they do. Google know the difference between these link words like in, and, near, with, all those words. Google ignore them, people tell you, but I'm here to say they don't, because I know for a fact that if I search for fresh fruit deliveries near me, or fresh fruit deliveries, or fresh fruit deliveries London, or fresh fruit deliveries in London, I get different results. If I search in my own town for accountants in Lincoln or accountants Lincoln, I get different search results. So I'm sorry, Google is telling me we do take notice of those words. It does form a different search phrase. So sometimes it's worth just playing around with what you're using to start with to go and see whether you can actually get a clearer swipe at getting to the top of Google. And then later on, when we pass over to Henrik in a few minutes, he will sort of show you some of the metrics. Well, I think he will anyway. It was showing you some of the metrics where you can sort of then decide, well, okay, I found a keyword variation like, well, deliver home to me in London. Let's say deliver home to me, deliver fruit to my home. If that suddenly didn't have that real estate dominated by citation sites and directories and so on and so forth, if that had a much more easy to rank profile on that home page, on that page 1 of Google, then you've got to start that. This is where you then need to go over to your tools and start looking now, what's the cost per click on this? What's the visits on this? Is this actually worth going after in any case? Over time, Google will semantically sort of link you up as you gain in authority. They'll start slipping you into those other variations anyway. But, you know, it's still important, because there's nothing more soul destroying than putting a website up there thinking that everybody's going to come to your fruit store because that's what you've told them to search for. And then you don't get found on page 1, page 3 or page 300 for the next 6 months. Absolutely. So the idea is go for the low-hanging fruit there, look around, do your keyword research, and give yourself the best chance of getting ranked. Once you're ranking, you'll start getting authority, you'll start getting domain authority, page authority, etc. And that will in turn bring more power to when you go after the bigger, more powerful money keywords, as it were. Okay, I'm going to waffle on a little bit longer, Henrik. I know you're waiting to sort of get going, but with your tools. But I'm just going to carry on this thinking while we're on page 1. I've said this before. Look around, see what people are saying. Look at the words in bold. They're the words you need to use as semantically linked in your text on your homepage. Look at the down at the bottom. You've got your people also search for, or whatever it's called, related searches, that sort of thing. But I don't know, there's various thinking on these, but it's still giving you suggestions as to the sort of things you need to be included, whether that's a category, whether it's another page, whatever. Yeah, let's work on that a bit later on. But you should be looking at those. Also, up at the top, when you start typing in your keyword, deliver fresh fruit to my door. Once you start typing that in, if you down arrow, you'll obviously see 10 or so other results of what people are actually searching for. So that will give you other ideas as to what other keyword combinations to search for. Now, okay, so hopefully you're all with me at that point. While I'm on a roll, I'm not going to stop and ask, because if there's nobody actually listening at this moment, then I'll Henrik will butt in when the questions come in. So, semantically linked, right? The other thinking that I apply, I'm not saying that it's the only thinking, but it's a way of thinking about it, and this is pretty valuable. If you go after, so if you're going for that fresh fruit store in London, that's great, that's fine. And then you suddenly think, but why aren't I ranking for fruit store in London? You'd think naturally that if you was ranking for fresh fruit store, you'd naturally link for fruit store. But when Google do all the number crunching on your page, they add up all the different variations and they come up with the term that they think you're ranking best for. So rather than trying to put lots of variations onto one page, like fresh fruit store, best fresh fruit store, whatever, rather than putting lots of variations on the one single page, what tends to happen there is you end up with a term, what we call keyword cannibalisation, which is where you're making each keyword phrase less valuable. So what you really need to be doing is focusing on picking a keyword phrase that makes sense to you, focusing on that keyword phrase on your homepage, make it very, very specific to your business, very, very on target, and don't dilute the power of that phrase by throwing in every other variation you can think of, thinking that it's going to give you more power. It's not. It's going to dilute over time. Obviously, I've said there's LSI keywords. Yes, you should use LSI phrases, but that's a bit different to using varying different long tail phrases. Okay, I want to also, and I'm going at a rapid pace here. Excuse me, my voice is giving up. The other one thing I want to touch on, finally, you'll be pleased to hear, is sentiment. Now, there has been research done to say that Google likes sentiment. It's like if you look in Google My Business results and things like that, if somebody says they were the best home cleaning service, they were a really great home cleaning service, I'm really pleased I use them. These sorts of words make a difference. And again, while you're on your Google page one, when you look down at the competition and see the sort of things they're putting, just have a look and pick out some of the words that people are using. Are they saying this is the freshest fruit store, this is the quickest delivery, this is the free delivery, this is the best, this is the ripest, this is the whatever? I don't know, because I can't think of other words to describe fruit at the moment, really. The crunchiest or the juiciest fruit store in the high street. Look down page one and pick out those words, because those words do make a difference. Google have clearly demonstrated that they like they're called sentiment words. Google have clearly demonstrated that they do like those. There was an update last week, and I noticed something a bit sort of strange though. I was ranking for a term which used the word really, and which was a sentiment word, and it did appear on the search engine, so other people were using it, and I was getting ranked. But what I found was that people that were using really, which is actually quite a common phrase in England, they're really good, double recommendation. So that actually made a difference. I suddenly found that when I looked at the people that were ranking above me, I noticed that quite a few of them were saying really. They were saying it twice. So they were getting ranked higher. Now, last week, Google, they're doing an absolute persistent, continuous algorithm updates with their new AI, whatever, at the moment. And it's changing all the time. The landscape's changing all the time. And what Google accept and don't accept is changing. And suddenly I know an update went on last week. And then when I went back and did this search again to see how I was doing, suddenly I jumped above the terms that was saying really, really. So the sites that were using double, I mean, this is only one example, so I can't say this is absolute proof or anything, but it looked like, although sentiment words were helping, if you started doubling it up, it looked a bit more spammy. It looked a bit more probably like he was trying to game the system, and Google looked like they'd started to penalize that. I don't know, but just be careful. Just have a look around. When you're looking around, pick out these words. Don't go overboard. Do things moderately. Is it common language? Is it sort of things that you'd say normally? And then go for it. So there we go. I think that's a massive whistle-stop tour on what I would do before I even start thinking about going into a niche. I think that sort of covers most. Go to page one of Google. Let Google tell you what Google wants, and start from there. And then at that point, you move over to your keyword tools, which I'm hoping Henrik's all lined up and ready to go with an amazing explanation.
Hopefully. Well, let me just share my screen here.
And you can comment on what I've just said there, Henrik, if you think that it was utter nonsense, or whether you want to add anything that I left out, or, add weight to the argument even. That'd be even better.
We're just showing the screen here now. So what I know, it's the wrong one. So just a second. I have to go in here. And hopefully that's the one I'm sharing. Nope. Bear with me for 1 second. What I'm doing wrong here.
Was there any questions, by the way?
No, not yet. Mm-hmm. Not as far as I can see.
Well, Henrik I presume people can still hear me. While Henrik's looking around for his for the right screen, what I'll do is I'll just give a brief sort of overview how I see keyword tools as well. There's many ones out there. There's many different types. There's keyword tools that will bring back LSI phrases. There's keyword terms that will come back and give you all the costs per click and the difficulty in ranking. I mean, they're the main ones anyway. And there's various different types. So it's really difficult because, I know by working with other marketers that, I can say, well, I like using this one. And they'll go, well, I hate that one. I like this one. And then I'll go and check that one out. And they'll go, well, that. And it depends what you're looking for. It really does. And the real truth of the matter is probably have one or two or three in your, or more than one, 2 or 3 in your armory, and use them all, or use whichever one you think suits the job that you're about to do. I think over time you'll probably move towards certain tools because it suits your purpose, and you'll whittle them down into your preferred sort of list anyway over time. The other thing that I also like doing when I'm doing keyword research is I try and look at the Google FAQs and sort of see what questions have been answered. Because if you see a feature snippet at the top giving an answer to your term that you've searched for, there's a button somewhere there that will say more questions. And again, this is another great place to be looking. Click on that button, drop down the list of more questions, and it'll give you another, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I'm not sure how many, another whole selection of questions that people are asking. And the truth is those are questions that people are asking. So again, they are definitely terms that don't necessarily want to be included in your homepage, but you do want to put them on your list of future pages that you're going to publish. Okay, how are we doing, Henrik? Still
I was just I was just fumbling around with the what it's called, Chrome, but now it's okay. I should have the
Well, I'll just say one more thing, actually, and then I'll pass back over to you. The other thing I'm going to say is people will sort of say, I know geo comes into keyword. People will bring that into keyword research quite a lot, like, city name, postcode, whatever, those sorts of things, state, county, where it depends what country you're in. That's outside of what we're going to do today. That's more about when we start looking at, on-page optimization and things like that. So, generally speaking, I wouldn't start focusing too much on locations at the moment. With the keyword research, you're really drilling down into what's going to bring traffic to your site for now. You can optimize around geo later when we start looking at on-page. But at this point, let's drill down and get the right keywords that will bring traffic in. That's the most important. So over to you.
Okay, I will try to share my screen now. And what will happen is hopefully you will be able to see screen with Ubersuggest as one of the keyword tools. What I've done here is I've just gone to Neil Patel's Ubersuggest tool. So you go to his website, go up to tools, and then you choose Ubersuggest. And if you, for instance, are searching for roofer in, let's find it, Lubbock, Texas, maybe. You click on search, then it will go and look for the search term, and it will give you an overview of what it finds, but it will also give you an idea of who your competitors are in the search results. So what Tony was saying is that when you do your keyword research, you will try to have your seek keywords, and then you will look at your competitions and your competitions number of competing pages. So depending on what you're trying to search for, of course, you will have a good idea of how many searches and where the money is flowing in the system. So that will give you a good idea of what to go after and what, let's say, how to structure your eventual website. So you could say that if you have a search term and you have above 1 million competing pages, those search terms will form the top of your silo. If you have search volume or competing pages between, let's say, 350,000 and 1 million, that will form your categories. And for, let's say, competing pages below, you will find below 350,000, you will use those keywords, and that's normally long tail, as supporting articles. Hopefully it will come up with something here. But while it's floating around, I can show you another keyword tool, which is free. It's called Keyword Translation Factory. Keyword Transaction Factory have different tool sets you can use. You can search for LSI keywords in it, and you will be able to scrub your keyword list and do a lot of fancy stuff in there. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you any search volume, so you just have to collect those keywords and see where you can find the search volumes, for instance, in Google Keyword Planner or other tool, or like in Ubersuggest Pro. So I'll go into that. I'll clear this one here, and if I'm searching for roofer, Texas, or Lubbock, can ask it to find either 8. What happened there? Well, let's just take the term business website. So you can decide whether you just want to search for 8 keywords, 64 keywords, or 512. If you search for 8, it will find 8. If you search for 64, it will take those 8 and make a recursive search for that. So I'm just choosing 64 here, and you can see you'll get a list, and you can either actually download it as a text, or you can copy it to your clipboard and then copy it out to your Excel sheet and do your further analysis there. You can combine keywords, you can find the top 10 titles, you can wrap keywords, you can scrub keywords. They have a silo drill down in the prof version of it, and you can have spin tags. You can do quite a lot of things. That we'll go deeper into that in another one where we are focusing totally on keywords.
Yeah, actually, Henrik, I'm sorry. I obviously clearly waffled on for too long in the start, because it is now actually 3:57. Yeah. Did we just want to mention that both of those two are actually available? They are freely available, aren't they? Both of those two.
Yeah, they're freely available on the net. And what we could say also, there's actually some new tools coming out today, which we will try to maybe to go deeper into. Keywords tools you could use: Google Trends, Power Suggest Pro, Keyword Translation Factory, Ubersuggest, and Network Empire is coming out with a super tool, which is called DMT, which to take the whole burden of your keyword analysis, your competition analysis, and your silo building, website building. So I was blown away when I saw it. So we'll go deeper into that, and I will leave the links to the different tools in the chat. So that's all for me. I'm sorry about this fumbling around with the Ubersuggest, but that's one of the tools that give you your competition at the same time, which you then can analyze to see whether you can find where they have some missing keywords, i.e. low-hanging fruit for you. But I'll go deeper into that next time.
Yep, and I think because obviously this is a bigger topic than I really thought, thinking that we could crack it in half an hour. Clearly we can't. So let's come back to it next week and have a proper Q&A and everything around this topic. And yeah, okay, that's brilliant. Thanks very much then, Henrik, and thanks very much everybody for being here. Catch you next week. Yeah.
Okay, see you guys.